In my home state of Colorado, out-of-touch Denver and Boulder leftists voted to reintroduce gray wolves. Since then, 10 wolves were reintroduced in December, and 8 have confirmed wolf livestock depredations and 6 separate incidents involving wolf attacks in Colorado just this month. My Trust the Science Act delists the gray wolf from the federal endangered species lists and returns the issue of the wolf management to states and tribal wildlife agencies.
Once again, Republican leadership has taken an opportunity to vilify an endangered species today here on this floor, to sacrifice it to their precious industry groups. Guns, oil, and polluters. That has come to be what the GOP stands for, at least in this Congress.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Colorado's Lauren Boebert's latest skirmish involves the gray wolf, a creature of myth and legend in the American wilderness.
Unfortunately, frivolous litigation was filed by the Defenders of Wildlife, Wild Earth Guardians, and other extremist groups, and an activist California judge subsequently pandered to these groups by vacating the 2020 rule and ultimately relisting the gray wolf by judicial fiat.
With her Trust the Science Act, Boebert aims to strip away protections for the gray wolf, citing the concerns of ranchers in her home state of Colorado. But behind the veil of scientific trust lies a deeper narrative of political posturing and identity.
Let's do as my bill says. Trust the bipartisan science and pass this bill so we can finally delist the fully recovered gray wolf and focus scarce taxpayer funding on endangered species that actually need help being recovered.
This bill is falsely named. It's called the Trust the Science Act. And it would legislatively delist the gray wolf in the Endangered Species Act in the lower 48. That is not something that is done based on science. It is something this bill would do by political fiat.
Boebert, herself not a rancher but a lightning rod for MAGA extremism, seeks to harness the fears and frustrations of rural communities. Yet her crusade against the gray wolf reveals a larger battle for the soul of conservation and coexistence in the American West. As the howls of debate echo across the political landscape, one thing is clear. The fate of the gray wolf is entwined with the tangled web of politics, power, and perception in Colorado. While ranchers cite recent calf losses as evidence of the wolf's threat, the broader context reveals a different story. Enter Representative Jared Huffman, a champion of environmental conservation and a voice of reason amidst the clamor of political rhetoric.
This bill would make it so that not a single gray wolf in the United States, in the entire country, would be protected by the Endangered Species Act. We've gone from only several hundred wild wolves in America, and these were inhabiting northern parts of Michigan and Minnesota, to approximately 7,500 wolves today, with populations in at least 11 states. That is the ESA in action. It's a great success story, but that doesn't mean that we can just unfurl a banner and declare mission accomplished. And certainly not when folks who took wolves to the brink of extinction are ready to rev up the wolf-killing machine once again and put us right back on that path to extinction.
Science and data paint a picture of coexistence rather than conflict, with wolves primarily targeting elk over cattle. Yet the fear of livestock losses persists, fueled by long-held misperceptions and the politicization of wolf restoration.
While I believe my colleagues are capable of going onto Google and pulling up some population numbers on gray wolves, it is pretty brazen to suggest that they, as members of Congress, are more qualified than the scientists and experts with years of training to determine if a species is actually recovered.
He challenges Boebert to confront the inconvenient truths that wolves pose minimal threats to ranchers and that fair compensation mechanisms already exist.
Passing this bill would simply call wolves recovered, but that does not make it so. The bill ignores science, and it sets the species back down the path to extinction by reinstating a Trump-era delisting rule that the courts have overturned because it violated the Endangered Species Act as well as the Administrative Procedure Act.
In the shadow of Huffman's scrutiny, Boebert's facade of scientific trust begins to crumble, revealing the stark reality of her political agenda. As the debate rages on, the clash between truth and rhetoric echoes across the halls of Congress, reminding us that the quest for environmental stewardship is as much about transparency as it is about science. With a sharp tongue, Huffman paints a picture of a GOP beholden to guns and oil. Yet amidst the clamor of political theater, Boebert's silence on crucial issues facing her agriculture district speaks volumes. While she postures as a champion for ranchers, Boebert's voting record tells a different story.
Now, this does not demonstrate a commitment to conserving the species once it's delisted. All of these state policies would simply further villainize wolves and reward the type of killing that caused the population to crash in the first place.
She plans to vote against the Farm Bill, neglecting the very constituents she claims to represent. In the heartland of Colorado's District 4, where agriculture rules, her actions betray her words. Instead of pandering for support with empty promises, Boebert would do well to heed the call for meaningful action.
So, no, a simple head count is not a scientifically sound basis for declaring open season on the gray wolf. My Republican colleagues know that what they're trying to do will never stand up to scrutiny in the courts. It would never stand up to consideration of the best available scientific and commercial data, and that's why this bill prohibits judicial review. And that really gives the game away. If you really trust the science, then you shouldn't be afraid of a little scrutiny. Based on the talking points that we've heard throughout this legislative process, this is all just so people can shoot more wolves. Why would Congress invest millions of taxpayer dollars in recovering this iconic species just to turn around and let states start killing them all over again?
Initiatives like a proposed federal right to repair bill, federal fertilizer and equipment subsidies assistance program, and don't forget the Family Farm and Ranchers Legacy Protection Act that offer tangible solutions to the challenges facing farmers and ranchers. These are all proposals from a Democrat that's running against her, and that's actually leading her in the polls, Ike McCorkle. But until Lauren Boebert aligns her actions with her rhetoric, her claims of support for ranchers ring hollow. In a battle for the soul of Colorado's agriculture, authenticity speaks louder than political posturing. And for Boebert, the truth may prove to be her greatest adversary. As the Beetlejuice Bimbo's fundraising plummets off the cliff and her polling sinks even behind Democratic challenger Ike McCorkle, Boebert's true colors are laid bare for all to see. From her inflammatory rhetoric to her neglect of critical issues facing her constituents, Boebert epitomizes the worst of political opportunism. While she may claim to champion certain causes, her actions speak louder than words, betraying a self-serving agenda that puts personal gain above public service. In the battle for the soul of Colorado's 4th District, the choice is clear. Reject Boebert's brand of politics and embrace a future built on integrity, empathy, and genuine leadership. Vote for the Democrat who also happens to be a veteran who earned the Purple Heart and is now running against Boebert in the race. Colorado ranchers need Ike, and that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.